be able to get an elevator in there. So if that's the case,
Okay.
you know, you're gonna have more people that are gonna be looking for.
If we can, I think it's a good project.
I don't disagree with you, Bob, not a bit. The problem I have with it is, like I said, the parking issue. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. And I agree. If you read that 47 parking spaces are required, if you want to drop it, we're everybody gonna pass. I hear you loud and clear. I will be interested to see what they come up with for a response to that. As you know, another couple of weeks go by.
But then again, after we give them that, we change the contract zone and let them have that. Right?
So we're just playing Mike roulette.
Then we've already committed ourselves. They go on with this project, and all of a sudden they say, "Oh wow, we can't meet the parking requirements. What are we going to do?"
Legally to dump it there?
You know, and if we start dumping this traffic, this parking on, even if it's just those 14 extra spaces, if we start dumping those on the streets of Main Street or East Side streets,
Right. Remember correctly.
I'll put that in my pipe and go have a smoke.
Yeah.
Issue
I
at that
mean-
time wasn't enough parking. Not that we were paying
No, I hear
much,
what
but here we are thinking
Burdens on
eliminating parking
We talked about that, yeah.
and the other thing is
years ago.
he basically comes up and says, he wants to, his idea is to save the church. That's what he wants to do. Historically, he wants
Well,
to save the
any
church.
place in the downtown that we've done
There's
that,
extra costs in doing that.
took down the building behind the
How
post
he wants to
office.
tip because of that extra cost. Why should we be sucking
What
up
are you?
the
Yeah.
tip? Yeah.
Hello, folks. Let us gather together here. Okay, TV's on, I'm assuming?
TV's on.
Okay, good. Mics are on, TV's on.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, well, let's begin. I'd like to call a meeting to order. Recognition of members present. We'll go down the line. Councilor Precourt, Councilor Gay, Councilor Doyle, Councilor Roche, Councilor Minthorn, Councilor Cody, and Councilor Johnston. All 7 councilors are present. I'd like to ask the audience to join the council and the mayor in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Speaking of the pledge, one of the most important things we do as citizens of our country is to vote. And most folks watching this evening know that the vote's coming up on November 8th. We do have absentee ballots that are readily available for those who should choose to exercise that opportunity. And we are in the council chamber as we speak, and there are voting booths set up here, so if you wish to vote through the absentee process when you come on into City Hall. I strongly urge you to consider doing so because you can well expect November 8th will be a very busy day. So if you wanted to avail yourself that opportunity, it may prove somewhat beneficial. So again, hope to see you all on November 8th, but if you want to come in early, our city clerk is very ready and able to provide you with the absentee ballots. Also on the general item,
You want to note that
say again.
Michelle said that we've had 1,300 absentee votes so far.
Okay, just for the record, yes, we've had 1,300 received absentee ballots, so we're on our way. It's about 10% of the total voters, probably a little bit more than 10%. So again, if that opportunity arises, you should consider coming in and perhaps doing an absentee ballot. It may make life a little easier on the 8th. Also, I'd like to take a moment here to read a proclamation. It's the Extra Mile Day Proclamation. Whereas Saco, Maine is a community which acknowledges that a special vibrancy exists within the entire community when its individual citizens collectively go the extra mile in personal effort, volunteerism, and service. And whereas Saco, Maine is a community which encourages its citizens to maximize their personal contribution to the community by giving of themselves wholeheartedly and with total effort, commitment, and conviction to their individual ambitions, family, friends, and community. And whereas Saco, Maine is a community which chooses to shine a light on and celebrate individuals and organizations within its community who go the extra mile in order to make a difference and lift up fellow members of their community. And whereas Saco, Maine acknowledges the mission of Extra Mile America to create 550 plus extra mile cities in America, and is proud to support the Extra Mile Day on November 1st, 2016. Now therefore it be resolved that I, Roland Michaud, Mayor of the City of Saco, and members of the City Council do hereby proclaim November 1st, 2016 to be Extra Mile Day. I urge each individual in the community to take time on that day to not only go to the extra mile in his or her own life, but to also acknowledge all of those who are inspirational in their efforts and commitment to make their organizations, families, community, country, or world a better place. Thank you. Speaking of which, last Saturday I had the pleasure of going to University of New England. University of New England was engaged Saturday on the second annual Day of Service. That happens to wrap in with this particular concept. Last April, over 400 students, faculty, and staff engaged in a variety of services, including park cleanup, beach cleanups, etc. I was there Saturday morning, probably 300 or 400 students in the gym at least, all anxiously awaiting to go out to the communities in Biddeford and Saco to provide assistance. We had a number of them, I think it was close to 40 that came over to Saco, worked in when I left. I'll say that I got to recognize that Joe, our Parks and Rec director, was on duty, and he met the students there at the Parks and Rec Center, and they were going to, if I remember right, Diamond Jubilee Park to do some policing out there. And the kids are really excited about doing that, and I think it's a great thing. It's something started last year. It's a way to get students involved in their local communities, and the hope is it'll stay with them wherever they settle in and feel they're part of that community. And from personal experience, I can say you don't feel part of a community unless you get out there and do things for it. Then you feel you really do become part of the community. And I'd like to particularly recognize and acknowledge the fine efforts of Dr. Samuel McReynolds, a resident of Saco, who put all this together with the students, and President Rippich at UNE, who recognized the value of this and is making it a yearly event. So, coincidentally, we had this meeting on the Extra Mile Day proclamation, and they went the extra mile for us on Saturday. All right, back to the regular agenda items. First on the item is the public comment. Barbara Coleman.
Good evening. Barbara Coleman, 45 East Stockton Avenue. Dear Mayor, Council, City Administrator, and the public. When one is hired to perform a job, the individual is provided a list of responsibilities for the position. What I have not figured out as the legislative body of the City of Saco, why a number of items approved by the Council has not been carried out in a timely manner, and if there are issues, notify sooner and not later than the deadline that has passed. Examples: hiring of the audit grant writer position, placing the request for the qualified proposal for Unit 91, hiring of the police chief. Instead, as Council, you find out that Unit 91 RQFP is being held up because of an issue regarding the heating unit. Why was this issue not thought about prior to bringing it to the Council and addressed? Why did the Council find out after the fact of when the bid was coming due based on the initial approval of the Council? Council questioned several times when the audit grant writer position was going to be filled. Why take so long? The fiscal year 2017 budget passed in May. Advertising for the position was not started. You approved the position. Move the process forward. Chief Paul announces his retirement in the spring. Starting the hiring process in July would have been warranted. Instead, the process is only beginning. Some overlap of the position should be helpful, but based on what has been presented, this will not occur. Is this a wise decision? Instead, an immense amount of time has been spent on courting the owner of Park North. The mayor has met with the owner by himself. Strange why this occurred, because it was a contract zone issue. From prior meetings, the mayor seems to oppose contract zoning. I have no issue with the developer seeking the proper process in the Council to make a decision regarding a contract zone change. The issue is staff did not review the prior contract agreement to make sure that the request in the prior agreement was completed. Example, the trails. Council and the developer's time has been not properly utilized. The Council voted no, but again, it's on the agenda to bring it back to deal and rescind the prior vote, or otherwise it is the first in public discussion tonight. If I continue to come before you as my boss, and the requested work was not completed, I wouldn't expect to have a position in the city much longer. I owe it to you as council and the taxpayers to properly perform the functions I was hired to do. If there are obstacles, council needs to know them sooner than later. The items are small in comparison to the other examples, and this doesn't make the city look good with all these issues continue to go unchecked until after the deadlines. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty, on to the consent agenda items. There are two consent agenda items. A, be it ordered the City Council approve the minutes for September 19th and October 3rd, 2016. And B, an application for a solid waste permit, Troiano Waste Services, Inc. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on the consent agenda items? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. Councilor Precourt?
Yes.
Councilor Gay?
Yes.
Councilor Doyle?
Yes.
Councilor Roche?
Yes.
Councilor Minthorn?
Yes.
Councilor Cody?
Yes.
And Councilor Johnston?
Yes.
7-0, the motion passes. On to the regular agenda. First item is the contract zone amendment, Park North. It was been assigned to Councilor Doyle, but I think Councilor Doyle brought it to the floor last week. We're at the point the council was informed there are two particular options we could choose to take to move this project forward if we want to. So is there, first of all, we all know in order for a motion to reconsider, you have to bid on the winning side for that, bring the item back on the floor. There are folks who voted against it last week. Is there anyone here who wishes to bring it back on the floor for reconsideration?
Yes, sir, I'd like to.
Councilor Gay?
Yes, with option number 1.
Okay, so you'd like to move it to reconsider the council's action last week and move forward with the original, which was an approval. Well, we'll vote on first and bring it back on the floor, then we can entertain, it's back to where we were last week, and entertain any amendments if council wishes to do so. Is there a second on the motion to reconsider it? Anyone can second it.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second to bring it back on the floor for reconsideration of the last week's vote. Any comments or discussion on the reconsideration action only? Okay, then I'll call for a vote. We'll bring it back on the floor for reconsideration. Councilor Precourt?
Yes.
Councilor Gay?
Yes.
Councilor Doyle?
Yes.
Councilor Roche?
Yes.
Councilor Minthorn?
Yes.
Councilor Cody?
Yes.
And Councilor Johnston?
Yes.
Okay, it's back on the floor. Councilors, anyone wish to make any amendments, or what do you want to do with this as we're moving forward?
Yes, I'd like to make an amendment and a draft motion for reconsideration.
We've done that.
Other side.
Well, let me read for the record. We did have a list of potential amendments for consideration. Let me read them into the record, and the council can discuss them if they're read in. Okay, the new language will be some modifications. Section 2, Parcel 1, dwelling units above the first floor as part of the mixed-use building will be struck and replaced with multifamily housing, no units within 600 feet of Route 1. Right-of-way. In Section 3, Item 8, Phase 1 of the trail system shall be completed by November 1st, 2017. Section 2, Items 17, 18, and 19. Item 17 is payment in full of the off-site mitigation fee of $50,000 required by the Maine DOT as part of the traffic movement permit for Park North shall be made to the city no later than April 1st, 2017 for safety improvements on U.S. Route 1 in the vicinity of the Ross Road as specified by the MDOT. Item 18, payment in full of the $50,000 payment as required by the Cascades contract zone approved by the City Council on September 5th, 2006, and approved for amendment by the City Council on December 22nd, 2014, shall be made to the city for the purpose of trail development and construction of said gift lot no later than April 1st, 2017. And 19, as stated in the 2011 conditions of approval for the parcel identified as tax map 62, lot 1-0-1. In order to provide for safe, convenient pedestrian access, the applicant and or property owner are responsible for the construction of a public sidewalk along the Cascade Road frontage of the subject parcel from its intersection with the Waterfall Drive to the easterlymost corner of the parcel at Cascade Road. Said sidewalk shall be designed to the satisfaction of the Department of Public Works, and and constructed, and constructed no later than November 1st, 2017. If proposed within the Cascade Road right-of-way, the applicant is responsible for securing any required easements. Now, are those the amendments you'd like to make, Roger?
Yes, it is.
Is there a second on the amendments?
Second. First,
All right, now we
first-
can
first
discuss
you-
them one at a time. Go ahead.
First, you have to make a motion.
Yes.
We've
To amend
amended, but
No,
we
first-
haven't brought the motion
You have
back
to make
to
a
the
motion
floor.
first.
Yeah, reconsidered it.
No, we reconsidered it, which redid the vote, but we need to bring the motion to the floor so we can then amend the motion.
Okay, you want to bring the motion?
So
I
Bill
apologize.
needs to read the motion as it was.
Reconsideration of the no, I thought made it back on the floor.
No.
But okay. All right, you want to vote?
We
move-
skipped
no,
a
it's
step.
us.
We went 1 to 3. We skipped 2.
What is Kevin? Sorry.
We'll bring it,
Kevin.
vote, all right. I thought we did bring it back on the floor, but that's okay. Roger, you want to make a motion to bring it back on the floor for further discussion?
Yes.
Is there a
And with a,
No,
Second.
he has to make the motion.
For what?
We just are reconsidering now, so we're back to square one.
Exactly, and it was
Now-
moved
now
on the
we
floor.
have to make the motion first.
A motion of what?
The city hereby ordains to what's written
Mayor?
here. That approves the second final reading.
The city hereby ordains and approves
Oh.
the second and final reading and the findings of the contract zone, documented contract zone agreement
Well-
by and between Park North Development LLC and Preston Properties LLCs as applicants in the city of Saco, dated December 20th, 2005, amended June 21st, 2016, for the properties at 991 Portland Road and 3rd Eastview Parkway, as authorized by Section 1403 of the zoning ordinance pursuant to 30A MRSA Section 4352, Section 8.
Second?
All right, all right, because it was my understanding by reconsidering the prior denial of the previous motion that was pending on the floor, which was that particular motion, we didn't have to reread it for the record.
Reconsidering a motion.
But that's okay. All those in favor of the motion to bring it back on the floor?
Aye.
Okay.
Unanimous, okay. I would have argued that it was back on the floor when we reconsidered, but that's okay. Whatever. I'm not the parliamentarian here. All right. Now it's back on the floor. The counselor from Ward 2 made some suggested motions for amendments, which I read into the record perhaps a little early, but they've been read in, and I believe we have a second on the motion for the amendments, correct? All right. Now, I'm just going to bring, if there's any discussion of any particular amendment before we move forward. Go ahead, Councilor Johnston.
I hate to do this to you, but I'd like to, on number 8, you have Phase 1 of the trail system shall be completed by November 1st, 2017. I'd like that to be April 1st, 2017, and the same on 19, so they're all in line with the other amendments.
So you're saying in amendment number 19, which is part of section 2, the third amendment, you want April 1st, 2017 to be substituted for what's currently written November 1st?
Yep.
that correct?
And on 8,
Right.
the trail system.
Where's Bob? Bob, and the applicant is here as well. You want to address that? Can you get it done by April 1st?
It can't physically be done dependent upon the winter. I mean, it just wouldn't happen. I mean, I certainly don't mind moving November 1st to, say, October 1st or even September 1st, possibly, but April 1st it just won't happen.
Do you have it designed already, or is that something you can have by April 1st?
Oh, absolutely on a
Nice.
design. It was always intended that we would sit with staff and Public Works and Parks and Rec and actually lay out what we would like to see and then have them do the final approval
Okay.
of both location and construction, type of construction on that. And then once they approve that, so absolutely we could work with staff to have that done, and then construction would happen after that during the building season, after the winter's completely over.
Councilor Johnston, do you want to change the date or just leave it as November? With the understanding the commencement will be in the spring and completed by November.
Yes. That.
So the record will certainly reflect your commitment to begin that by April 1st. So when the payments come in, Bob will make sure that process has begun. Any other comments from the council? And I'll be calling for, on the amendments, to approve them all the amendments, then we'll call for vote on the main motion after.
So the amendments first, the amendments that are in
All the
place
amendments,
now,
comprehensive
and then the,
amendment.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay? Councilor Precourt,
Yes.
Councilor Gay,
Yes.
Counselor Doyle,
Yes.
Counselor Roche,
Yes.
Counselor Minthorn,
Yes.
Counselor Cody,
Yes.
and Counselor Johnston.
Yes.
Now I'm going to call for a vote on the main motion as amended, and it's the main motion brought to the floor by
Wait.
Counselor Minthorn.
All right.
Go ahead,
Can I ask
Counselor
Mr.
Roche.
Chamberlain a question
Yeah.
before we get into
Yeah.
this?
A couple questions. Yeah.
Have we made any progress or anything this week with, from the last
Everyone,
meeting
yeah.
we had as the commercial use or whatever?
Absolutely. As I told you last week, we were submitting to Bob, and we are on the agenda tomorrow night at the workshop for a planning board for one entity. And obviously, I have a person waiting in the wings to see what happens tonight and to move that forward probably tomorrow morning.
All right, like I said, not trying to put any pressure, but I was just wondering if we made any progress with that in the last week.
Yes, we have.
Counselor Roche.
So a question for Mr. Chamberlain, then to all of us here. So before the planning board tomorrow is the specific gym proposal, right? The specific.
No, tomorrow is a separate entity that we've been working with that is currently a Scarborough business. Sorry.
Okay, so that's the
Saco
other one.
business that
The
is
other one.
upsizing
Okay.
into a newer, larger, more modern facility, and we are working with them where we would build their building and lease it to them, and they would have an option to buy it down the road.
And the other one is what you and your son were proposing.
That would be a third one. So tomorrow morning is possibly putting this piece of land that these multifamily would be on, and that would certainly jumpstart the gym proposal, which we are ready to go.
All right, because I'm not I always thought this over, and not to add another amendment to this. So this is short of adding an amendment. This is more to put on the city, not the developer. Is that we also have council comment now every meeting, so I'll be sure to bring it up every time on comment. But this needs to be followed through by the city, that the city needs to update us. It's not your burden to come before council at the podium. It's going to be the city's burden to come to update us, or we'll ask about it, of how this is progressing. Because really, I don't see a big city, based on what we discussed in the comprehensive plan, what the money or the residents' focus of this. This is not necessarily, I feel like, a big city push, but the commercial with it still remains, a very viable pursuit of here, and to be able to keep following up on that is going to be priority, at least from me, to see this go through. So short of having to come here every time and to discuss that, I don't want that burden on you. I'd want the burden on the city to be updating us. So, I'm saying it publicly now, but I will certainly bring it up in comment section every time to see how this is progressing.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the council? So we're voting on the main motion as amended. Okay. Counselor Precourt.
Yes.
Counselor Gay.
Yes.
Counselor Doyle.
Yes.
Counselor Roche.
Yes.
Counselor Minthorn.
Yes.
Counselor Cody.
Yes.
And Counselor Johnston.
Yes.
7-0, the motion passes. We'll be hearing from you on the updates. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alan.
All right. Next item on the agenda is a first reading contract zone, Cuts Avenue LLC. Counselor Johnston.
Applicant Cuts Avenue LLC proposes to redevelop the Notre Dame Church property, which would include rehabilitation and conversion of the church building, removal of the rectory, and construction of new apartment buildings to each side of the church. A total of up to 80 residential units are proposed, each 700 to 800 square feet in area, with one bedroom, rather. While the existing B3 zone allows multifamily dwellings, the applicant seeks a contract zone that would allow greater density than it currently is allowed. Reduce the side and rear setbacks from 10 feet to 5 feet, and reduce the number of required parking spaces from 47 to 33. This item was reviewed by the Planning Board at its October 4th, 2016 meeting. The Board arrived at a positive finding on each of the 4 standards found in Section 1403-6 and voted to forward a positive recommendation to the City, or the Saco City Council. The item was discussed at City Council workshop on Tuesday, October 11th, 2016. Staff views this proposal as a rare opportunity to remake community landmark into a 21st century landmark. Downtowns that close down after 5 p.m. are not a sign of a vibrant community. Cities must encourage greater residential density in their downtowns where people live and congregate. Services will spring up to meet the demand. Staff fully supports the Planning Board recommendation that would allow this project to move forward. Move to approve the first reading and adopt the findings in the contract zone document entitled Contract Zone Agreement by and between Cutts Avenue LLC and the City of Saco, dated October 4th, 2016, and further move to schedule a public hearing for November 7th, 2016, for the property identified as tax map 38, lots 105, 105-1, and 106, as authorized by Section 1403 of the zoning ordinance pursuant to 30A MRSA Section 4352-8.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
All right. Discussion on the motion. Yes, Kevin.
I just want to point to the memo that was provided as part of this packet that discusses the time frame in order to try to get this done. If council is at all interested in trying to help the developer make sure that they can work with their consultants, their designers and architects, we could have another council, since the next council meeting isn't until the 7th of November, which is 3 weeks away, we could have another meeting maybe next week. I do have several other items I can add to the agenda if council wanted to do another meeting next week.
Let me just say the city manager is bringing it up as an issue, not because of this particular item, specifically because this is an odd 5-Monday month. So we would actually be not coming back until the day before the election, until on November 7th, which are 3 Mondays away. There is going to be another issue coming up on the shoreline zoning that's going to require probably a tabling motion for now because of comments from the state that we could resolve as well next week. There's very minor items of changes, and there's a series of other actions the city manager needs to present to us as well.
I really want to get the comp plan group going, and I think trying to get that done sooner rather than later.
That should be hopefully ready by, I got everybody on, I've talked to everybody but a couple, so I'm working, we should have that ready for you for the council for next week as well. So the question I have for the council, are you willing to have another workshop public meeting next Monday, or you want to wait till the 7th? It's one of these odd three Monday months, entirely up to the council, because it makes a difference on this particular item, but it's also other items that we like to discuss, but we can put off till the 1st or the 7th of November, depending on the council's interest. Go ahead.
Is the sewer impact discussion on Mill 4 Island ever going to be discussed? I mean,
Yes, it will.
will it be at that meeting?
I can try to get it for next week.
Because the Cutts Ave situation is driving this, and I mean, we've been trying to get some other things on there, so I'll horse trade with you, but I'm not doing it just for
What items
this.
you want to cover next week besides the shoreline zoning?
Comp plan.
The comp plan.
There's a weird bond item that doesn't actually have any financial effect.
Oh, that's the school bus issue.
The school
That needs to be resolved, yes, post haste, yeah, I still heard about that.
That's a ramp or something, I believe. Cheryl, do you know exactly what that bond thing is? Bond item is?
The bond had to do in the purchasing of 3 buses on a rental base, on a part for Thornton
Right, a
Academy and
lease.
New Arundel. We need to authorize that purchase, yes.
And the question is, how many meetings does that have to have? So I've been working with the attorney on that.
Oh, geez, I thought only one, okay. There could be
I'm
more.
hoping only one, but I need to verify that.
Okay.
That's what I could get on there. We have a issue with the zoning item that's currently on the agenda that could get postponed, comp plan, and I can bring together a proposal for, or at least a presentation on a proposal for the downtown district for sewer fees, sewer impact fees.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. I have to ask him, Council from Ward 4, what he's referencing, but we do have an issue to deal with impact fees in relating to restaurant facilities.
Downtown. Yep.
Yes, and that's come to us a number of times, and that is something we need to get done if we're going to ever encourage that
Yeah,
kind
and
of
I'm working
growth.
with staff to develop something. I just don't know if I can get it done for Monday, but I can try.
Well, we get the staff, I'm sure Howard can get this done pretty quick. I'm sure he's pretty creative, has some ideas, so.
We've been talking.
Okay. Well, anyhow, those are the possibilities. I just need to know before I call for a vote on this motion. As unless we amend it, we'll move forward on it. But if they're any interest in getting together next week or not, yay or nay?
I can do it.
You can't.
I can do it.
You can do it? Okay. Is there, councilors? Next Monday? I know it's out of the realm of the norm, but because it's a 5 Monday month, let's just keep our work moving forward.
At least that can go on it.
Okay, then I'll call for a meeting next Monday, and we will have our materials READY.
Okay.
All right. So is there any interest that we could further amending this motion to make that public hearing for next week instead of November 7th? No interest in doing so?
Yeah, that's fine.
No, we can move it up.
Well, I need to have it as a motion on the floor as an amendment because it's been read in as November 7th.
So the public hearing on this next week,
That's correct.
that you announced to everyone.
Well, somebody has to make it a motion and second
Will
it to
it,
amend
will
that.
it meet, will it meet all the notification deadlines and stuff?
Yes, if there's a public hearing next week, it would meet then again 2 weeks later for the second and final, which is enough time for the public hearing.
Go ahead, Michelle. Okay.
Yeah,
There's not enough time to what?
To post it.
Because it has to be 7 days.
Oh, because you need 7
I thought
days.
it was 14 days, right?
Yeah.
Is it
7
7?
days, and we only
7
have
days.
6.
Okay, we'll leave that as it is, but we're still meeting next Monday.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so I'll call for a vote on the motion. Counsel Precourt.
Yes.
Counsel Gay.
Yes.
Counsel Doyle.
Yes.
Counsel Roche.
Yes.
Counsel Minthorn.
Yes.
Counsel Cody.
Yes.
Counsel Johnston.
Yes.
7-0, the motion passes. And just as a reminder, if you could just put a note out to this, we'll have a meeting next Monday, so none of us forget, so we can work on the agenda tomorrow. All right. Next item on the agenda is a second and final proposed zoning amendments pertaining shoreline zoning. And I will ask if Councilor Roche would consider moving it to the floor, and we can table it till next week to make some changes.
So read it in as normal, right? I gotta read it in as normal, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. These proposed zoning ordinance amendments would update shoreline zoning guidelines found in Articles 5 and 7.1, consistent with the recent amendments approved by the Maine DEP. DEP staff has been asked to review the proposed changes and should have comments by later this month. Formal acceptance of the changes by the DEP Commissioner will occur after council action. The changes are best described as quote-unquote housekeeping and are fairly minor in nature. The Planning Board considered the proposed ordinance amendments in its August 2nd meeting, held a public hearing, and received no comments, and then made a positive recommendation for passage. Suggested motion be it ordered that the City Council hereby approves the second and final reading of the document titled Amendments to Zoning Ordinance Section 504-2 and 7-1 dated September 12, 2016. I move to approve the order.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, now it's on the
All right.
floor. I would suggest that we do a motion to table till next week to finalize it.
Well, because we realize that it's a little more than housekeeping per the
Well, we
state,
gotta
right?
Keep it a little cleaner.
Okay. All right, so I motion that this is tabled to the next meeting, November 7th?
No, October 24th, the meeting next
October
week.
24th.
Has to be
That-
done by next week, otherwise.
Oh, that's not just a workshop then?
It'll
It's
be
going
both.
to be both.
Both, yeah,
Okay.
because otherwise you lose your public
All right.
hearing timeframe.
October 24th is when I want to
The
table it.
motion to table till next week, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the tabling motion solely? Hearing none, I call for a vote. Counsel Precourt?
Yes.
Counsel Gay?
Yes.
Counsel Doyle?
Yes.
Counsel Roche?
Yes.
Counsel Minthorn?
Yes.
Counsel Cody?
Yes.
Counsel Johnston?
Yes.
7-0, motion passes, been tabled till next week. Next item on the agenda is a second and final amendment to Saco Code 112, General Assistance. Counsel Cody.
Each year, the MMA presents municipalities with new appendixes for their city ordinance, which need to be reviewed and adopted. This year, the overall maximums on Appendix A have increased slightly. The food maximums on Appendix D have remained the same since last year. On Appendix C, we used an average between the York County HMFA and the York/Kidders/Southburg HMFA. Those amounts were up in all categories this year. The amounts in Appendix D have not changed. The motion is be ordered the Saco City Council hereby approves the second and final reading the amendment to the Saco City Code, Chapter 112, General Assistance Program, Appendix A, overall maximums, Appendix B, food maximums, Appendix C, GA, housing maximums, and Appendix D, utilities.
For the motion, is there a second on the motion?
Second.
All right, discussion on the motion to approve the GA group changes? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. Counsel Johnston?
Yes.
Counsel Cody?
Yes.
Counsel Minthorn?
Yes.
Counsel Roche?
Yes.
Counsel Doyle?
Yes.
Counsel Gay?
Yes.
And Counsel Precourt.
Yes.
7-0, the motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing, renewal of application for special entertainment permit, Fraternal Order of the Eagles, 3792. Counsel Minthorn.
Fraternal Order of the Eagles, Erie 3792, has applied for a renewal of their special entertainment permit. The permit will be concurrent with the established Entertainment's liquor license. The applicant has paid all applicable fees, and the clerk has properly advertised the public hearing in accordance with Saco City Code, Chapter 93, Entertainment 93, Section 2. I move to open the public hearing.
Is there a second? Okay, I'll just call for a hand. All those in favor? It's unanimous. The public hearing is open. Is there anyone here from the council that wishes to address, anyone here from the public wish to address the council? Apparently not. Okay, I'll bring it back to Councilman Thorne.
Okay, I move to close. I move to close the public hearing and be it ordered that the City Council grant the renewal application submitted by the Fraternal Order of the Eagles, number 3792, for a special entertainment permit to be concurrent with the establishment's current liquor license. I move to approve the order.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any questions or comments?
Do we ever get to find out what the entertainment is? We got all
Well, I
these
think
votes and no
if-
discussions.
You gotta go.
Are we invited?
Well, the entertainment, according to the application, says DJs, bands, and a jukebox. So
Yeah, get more specific
get those
than that.
shoes out here. I did my dance like the mayor's ball. That's it for me for now. Any other questions or comments on this item? Hearing now, call for a vote. Council Precourt?
Yes.
Council Gay?
Yes.
Council Doyle?
Yes.
Council Roche?
Yes.
Council Minthorn?
Yes.
Council Cody? Council Johnston?
Yes.
7-0, the motion passes. I would ask the council if you're willing to move item 10
Yes.
to current, then before we go into executive session. If there's no disagreement, I'll make that motion, and we'll do the council discussion and comment now before executive session. So, all right, here we go. Council comment and discussion. Okay, all right then.
I got
That one.
Oh, got one.
Nathan?
We want to go first.
It's
Okay.
all for Kevin, actually, or Kevin Sutherland. If you could get us copies of the contracts for the traffic study that was done in Pepperell Square and the comp plan review.
Okay, so the copies of the contract are
Yeah.
on the city administrator's website.
Are they?
Yep.
Okay. And then the only other thing is, I think all of us have had the citizens group a couple times at least bring up the issue of the budget. Could you just formally address that to us in a memo?
Sure. The concern that the Citizens for Sensible Government made
Comments
regarding
about budgeting.
budget,
Okay,
and
all
I'll
right.
happily address that.
Okay. Other questions or comments? Sometimes I don't hear as well at this end anymore.
Yep, both comp plan review, Nathan, Counselor Johnson, there's both the comp plan review and the copies of the contract are on the city administrator's website.
All right. Thank you.
Council Roche.
A couple items. One, on TV, this is my last chance to advertise it. The next Tuesday, October 25th, at 6 o'clock at City Hall, we're having the Camp Ellis Jetty meeting to discuss the next steps that we think are set forth, and we got to keep an eye on to get the jetty approved under the Army Corps' funds, and with legislative representatives here, possible state, federal, and state. Possible Army Corps rep might be here.
Have they been invited, Kevin?
Yeah.
Yes, they have.
So, so that meeting is, as many emails and notifications as we can get out, but just publicly here, just say that's coming up. The other thing was partly what the citizens group addressed is, that workshop we can discuss a little more is I feel the urgency to get that special projects position filled. We have had many situations where that type of person would have come in handy. One, to find the Park North, maybe money and the double of the details of that contract that monies were owed. Building 91, the heat system and the costs involved there. By the way, I have an accounting request that the money that Chamberlain will now pay for Park North, if it can be applied to the contingency money that we're spending out for Building 91, that at least can balance out. But also just in general, that we did vote 6-1. It wasn't too contentious that position was to be filled with the assumption, just like the schools do, is they get all their hirings starting right up July 1st, and that should have been the assumption here. So updates now, every time I'm going to do a comment like this, we'll be looking for that update. So.
Okay, bring it up next Monday at
I
workshop.
can just provide a quick update. I had 13 resumes received. I was going to wait till the end of this week to see if I get any more.
Sure.
And we will look to hire shortly.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions? Oh, okay. Wait, well, let me go.
You can
to
go
Eric
first.
Kimmel. All right, Council Cody.
Not a question, the Camp Alice issue, the federal government built that jetty that caused erosion in Camp Alice, and I've suggested for years that we sue them and get our money because they've taken forever to fix it.
That will be discussed. So, yes.
That may be the ultimate game plan, the way things are going. Council
I was just
Johnson?
going to ask if you'd allow Barbara to speak. She has a question.
No, we had the
I have
public
no idea.
comment session. This is the council comment session.
Well, I think it's a comment.
Just other comments from the council?
Yes, I'd like to know what's going on with the replacement for Brad.
The what?
The replacement for the police chief.
Oh, the police chief, yes.
Where we stand now, because supposedly I was supposed to be on one of the interviewing committees or whatever. Haven't heard anything yet about anything, so.
So the police chief position was posted on Friday. We've already had about 15 applications come in over the weekend. It will stay up until November 4th when the first round committee gets together. And I haven't communicated with either of you gentlemen about who's going to serve on which of the two committees.
Okay.
But that'll happen right after November 4th. We'll start meeting.
Okay.
Well, I would only suggest, Kevin, you consider if one of the councils are involved, which committee they're on.
And
so
there,
they
no, I
have
plan
be
to.
the-
I plan to. I'm still putting all that together.
Okay, all right.
A
because
few
that's
other
important.
things on the plate. But
Anything else from the council? Okay, Barb.
Counselor number 8.
This is number 8.
No, this is 9.
Now, I can't get you guys straight. These. Okay.
Very easy.
Go ahead, Ms.
Last
Nye.
meeting, we discussed private roads. One of my suggestions is, because eventually you're going to be looking at this and making a final decision, I saw the little road charts with all the different, roads that are private roads. What I would really like to see, and I know this is extra work for staff, and if staff can't do it and everybody gives me the private roads, I'd like to memorialize on a piece of paper how many houses currently exist on each of these private roads. I looked up Crystal Lane. I saw the numbering system 3-5. Well, what happened to number 1? Because don't you usually start a road with 1, go to 2, 3, 4, depending on what side? So on Crystal Lane, we have a 3-5. So does that mean there's room now for a house number 1 because of the way you've got a numbering system? So if we have a nice little chart of all of the roads with every single house as it is, and that's where you stop, you have memorialized that document forever, and you do not add any more. Otherwise, you're ending up with developments being shot off from those little roads, the way I understand the way the private roads have been working. Good suggestion?
Well, my experience in private roads is that there are many more than we know of.
Yes.
In fact, we had a whole event in the 1980s. We had to define what roads, what right-of-ways were roads. Road issues are not going to be as simple as pushing a button and it's memorialized permanently, but we're working in that direction. Whether we could give you a list of every private road with every lot on there, I'd rather suspect it'd be a little more complicated than that. But
Well, Vision should be able to. That's where I went to pull it up.
it needs to
for
come out of the
Crystal Lane.
building code enforcement area when a building permit is issued on a private road. That's really where they'll start to really document the process, which is what I've been asking for.
So let's memorialize what we have currently, and when code goes to put on a house, and you're not supposed to have more than 4, you've got a document that you look at and say, oh, I can't put another house there because I've already got 4 houses. Though they're oddly numbered,
It should
there
be
is
doable.
4.
It should be
And
doable.
if city can't do it, give me the list of private roads, and I'll look up in Vision and tell you what's on each one.
Don't go away. You may be surprised because it is a complex area, but it needs to be resolved. Agreed, 100%.
I'm not disagreeing, but I'm offering to
Okay. we'll
look
keep that
and
in mind.
vision and tell you what's there.
Yeah, good. Thank you. And Crystal Lane is where?
It's off Berry Road.
Bay Road.
Oh, okay.
That's how I figured
That's
out.
the D mark on the Berry Road between public and private. I got one final comment.
Go ahead.
I just thought of it. I want to thank our city administrator. He did a very excellent job last Thursday under what I would say were somewhat adverse conditions dealing with the downtown folks in Pepperell Square. And there were a few people in the audience that were certainly challenging. And he definitely should be rewarded for an outstanding job.
His reward was getting out of there alive.
Yes, he did.
No, actually, it was a good learning experience for all of us, how to plan ahead and anticipate versus, but to get the discussion started. We got a long ways to go in the discussion.
No feathers stuck on the way out? You didn't get tired and feathered?
No, I did not.
He's still standing, so he made it. Okay, anything else for the council? If nothing else, I'd like to move back to the agenda, executive session. Be it ordered, the City Council pursuant to MRSA Title 1, Chapter 13, Subchapter 1, 405-6, move to enter the executive session to discuss D, labor relations, Public Works and Parks Unit, Teamsters for the collective bargaining agreement from 2015 to 2018. Is there a motion to move in executive session?
So moved.
A second? Second. All those in favor? Unanimous. We're going to move into executive session. We're going to have it back there.